Take a moment. Look around you. Consider the solid feel of the ground beneath your feet, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the intricate details in the face of a loved one. These sensations form the bedrock of our existence. But what if this foundational trust is misplaced? Are you absolutely sure this world is real? What if it is all just part of a hyper-realistic, meticulously crafted simulation? The idea forces us to confront a deeply unsettling possibility. The laws of physics that govern our universe might simply be the rules of the simulation. It probes the authenticity of your own consciousness, your thoughts, and your very identity. The question becomes more urgent. How can we be certain that we are not already living inside a simulation? This is the simulation hypothesis. The theory suggests that our entire universe exists inside a massive computer simulation. Our reality isn't made of fundamental particles, but pure information processed by a powerful system. Our lives would be akin to a highly advanced video game. A civilization far more advanced than ours has developed ancestor simulations. These are fully immersive, conscious realities. This idea has been given serious consideration by brilliant minds. Philosophers, physicists, and computer scientists are grappling with its logic. Probability suggests it is more likely we are in a simulated reality. The simulation hypothesis forces us to reevaluate our place in the cosmos. Every discovery might simply be us uncovering the source code of our simulated world. If our world is a simulation, who is playing it? Perhaps our descendants, a post-human civilization, or an alien species beyond our comprehension. Is it scientific research or elaborate entertainment? Are we conscious beings with free will, or just sophisticated programs? Are you a central subject or merely part of the code? The simulation hypothesis suggests higher levels of existence. This could lead to infinite simulations, with no way to reach the true reality. Is someone watching us from the other side? The simulation hypothesis suggests our perceived reality isn't fundamental. Instead, we might be living inside a highly advanced computer simulation. Imagine a sophisticated video game scaled up to encompass the entire universe, with every detail rendered perfectly. Our world isn't matter and energy but pure information processed by an unimaginably powerful system. A civilization far more advanced than ours could easily create such a simulation. The inhabitants would be unaware, their reality generated by the simulation's code. This hypothesis, grounded in technological progression, suggests that simulating reality is a plausible possibility. The world as we know it could be a grand illusion. The laws of physics might be programmed rules, and we, living characters in a story written in code. The simulation hypothesis entered mainstream thought thanks to Nick Bostrom and his 2003 paper. Bostrom's simulation argument poses a trilemma. Civilizations go extinct before creating ancestor simulations, advanced civilizations choose not to run simulations, or they do, and we're likely in one. Bostrom argues probability favors the simulation scenario. This forces us to consider, is self-destruction, universal disinterest, or a simulated existence more likely? It doesn't offer proof, but makes simulation a statistically significant possibility. If we're in a simulation, the why is as important as the how. Are we research subjects, historical reenactments, entertainment, or something beyond our comprehension? Our purpose, data, drama, or digital byproduct, defines our relationship to our creators, even if their motives are forever unknowable. If we're simulated, are we conscious beings or just sophisticated code? NPCs in a cosmic game, unable to know the difference? Whether our thoughts are real or programmed, the simulation hypothesis forces us to question the very nature of our identity and free will. At the smallest scales, reality is pixelated Planck length, quantized energy hinting our universe might be built from finite digital bits, not infinite smoothness. Like pixels in a game, these limits suggest our seamless world could be the output of a high-resolution simulation. The speed of light is an absolute limit, just like a computer's processing cap hinting our universe's hardware can't update reality any faster. This cosmic speed limit may be the clearest sign we're living within the constraints of a simulated system. Quantum mechanics shows reality renders, when observed like a game engine saving resources by only drawing what the player sees. Our attention might literally bring the world into focus, suggesting reality is generated for us, moment by moment. One of the most astonishing things about our universe is just how well it can be described by mathematics. The laws of physics, from the motion of planets to the behavior of subatomic particles, can all be expressed through elegant and precise mathematical equations. Gravity is described by Einstein's field equations, and the quantum world is governed by the Schrödinger equation. This unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics, as physicist Eugene Wigner called it, has long puzzled scientists and philosophers. Why should a physical natural universe follow such strict, abstract, and discoverable mathematical rules? It almost seems as if the universe was designed with a mathematical blueprint. The simulation hypothesis offers a pretty straightforward answer to this puzzle. If our reality is a computer simulation, then it must be based on an underlying code. The laws of physics would simply be the algorithms that the program is executing. Mathematics is the language of logic and algorithms, so it would be the natural language for programming a universe. The mathematical formulas we discover are not just descriptions of reality, they could be glimpses of the source code itself. Every time a physicist discovers a new equation that accurately predicts a physical phenomenon, they might actually be reverse engineering the very code that runs our world. This idea is further supported by the increasing discovery of information-theoretic principles within physics. Physicist John Archibald Wheeler famously coined the phrase "it from bit," suggesting that every particle and field of force, derives its existence from bits of information. More recent theories propose that space-time itself may be an emergent property of a network of quantum information. This line of thinking transforms our understanding of the cosmos from a collection of physical objects to a vast information processing system. If the universe is fundamentally made of information, then it is a very small step to conclude that it is being computed. This mathematical and informational nature of reality is exactly what we would expect to find if we were living inside a simulation. A reality based on pure code would inherently be structured, logical, and describable by mathematics. The elegance and consistency of our physical laws would not be a happy coincidence, but a necessary feature of a well-designed program. The universe doesn't just happen to follow mathematical rules, it is built from them. Our ongoing quest to understand the cosmos through mathematics may in fact be a journey to understand the mind of our programmer and the architecture of the system we inhabit. A growing number of technologists, physicists, and philosophers are publicly stating that they take the simulation hypothesis very seriously. Elon Musk has stated that the odds we are living in base reality are 1 in billions, based on the rapid progress of video game technology. Neil deGrasse Tyson puts the odds at 50-50, highlighting the logic of Nick Bostrom's argument. Their willingness to entertain the hypothesis suggests that the clues are compelling enough to question the nature of reality. If our reality is a simulation, who built it? Who are the architects, the programmers of our cosmos? This question throws open the doors to a universe of possibilities. Are they beings who operate on a higher plane of reality? Are they benevolent researchers, indifferent experimenters, or something unknowable? One theory suggests our simulators are our own distant descendants. Future humans might run ancestor simulations to study their past. Another possibility, the creators are an entirely alien intelligence. Perhaps it's a vast scientific experiment or cosmic art. The simulators would be, for all intents and purposes, the gods of our universe. The simulation hypothesis presents a modern scientific version of mythology. The simulation hypothesis casts doubt on free will. We feel like we author our choices, but if reality is a program, this feeling could be an illusion. Every thought, every decision could be the output of an algorithm. If our brains are part of this system, then our thoughts are governed by its rules. The feeling of choosing might be part of the simulation, designed to feel authentic. Are we truly thinking or just processing information in a way that mimics thought? In a simulated universe, inhabitants might be complex programs without a genuine inner life. But perhaps the simulation is so sophisticated that consciousness and free will emerge from its complexity. The simulation hypothesis completely transforms our understanding of life's ultimate mystery, death. Throughout human history, we have grappled with the finality of our existence, creating elaborate philosophical and religious systems to make sense of what comes after. But if we are living inside a computer program, then death may not be an end, but a transition. It could be analogous to a character in a video game being deleted, or a user logging out of a system. The cessation of our biological functions would simply mean the termination of our specific process within the simulation. Our consciousness, our data, might simply cease to be rendered by the cosmic computer. This perspective could be seen as either terrifying or comforting. On one hand, it strips death of any transcendent or spiritual meaning. There would be no heaven, no hell, no reincarnation, just a digital off switch. Our entire existence, with all its joys and sorrows, would be erased as if it never happened. On the other hand, it removes some of the fear associated with the unknown. Death would be a clean and simple end, a shutdown of the program. There would be no suffering, no void, just the cessation of the experience. It would be a return to the state of non-existence from which we came before the simulation was run. Furthermore, the hypothesis opens up radical new possibilities. If our consciousness is just information, could it be saved or backed up? Perhaps death within the simulation is not a permanent deletion. The simulators could have the ability to reboot us, to restore our consciousness from a previous save point or even transfer it to a different simulation. It is conceivable that after our death we might wake up in another reality, perhaps even in the base reality of our creators. This idea mirrors concepts of an afterlife but grounds them in the language of technology. Resurrection becomes a system restore, and reincarnation becomes loading into a new game. Ultimately, this reframing of mortality forces us to reconsider the value of our lives. If life is a temporary run of a program, does that make it less meaningful, or does its finite, perhaps repeatable nature encourage us to live it more fully? The idea that death is not a biological absolute but a systemic function changes everything. It suggests that our existence is tied not to our physical bodies, but to the data that represents us. The final question then becomes, when our program stops running, what happens to the information that was us? Is it archived, deleted, or repurposed for another simulation? If our world is an elaborate fabrication, does anything we do truly matter? Our systems of morality are built on the assumption that our actions have real consequences. But if our pain is just a simulated sensation, can these experiences still be considered authentic? Does morality become meaningless in a world without genuine substance? However, meaning is not dependent on the nature of reality, but on the nature of consciousness. Even if our world is simulated, our subjective experiences are undeniably real to us. Therefore, our moral obligation is to each other. The goal should be to reduce suffering and increase well-being within the simulation. Perhaps the entire point of the simulation is to serve as a moral test. We would be participants in a grand cosmic drama, and our actions would have more meaning, not less. The greatest challenge to the simulation hypothesis is the lack of direct, verifiable evidence. The theory remains pure speculation. Arguments are largely circumstantial, based on philosophical reasoning, not concrete proof. Ideas like the universe's pixelation aren't definitive proof of a simulation. Without a smoking gun, a glitch, a message, it's a compelling story, not fact. Critics argue confirmation bias plays a role. We project our digital world onto the cosmos. Clues might reflect our cultural and technological preoccupations. Evidence can be explained by existing physical theories. Claiming simulation adds an unnecessary layer, violating Occam's razor. It needs a unique, testable prediction, not explained by other theories. No concrete predictions have been made or verified. Until then, skepticism is the scientific position. The burden of proof lies on those claiming our reality isn't what it seems. A major criticism of the simulation hypothesis centers on the sheer scale of computation required. Simulating a universe down to the quantum level would require an impossible amount of energy and processing power. Our universe contains an estimated 10 to the 80th power atoms, each constantly changing. Accurately tracking every particle in real time would require a computer larger than the universe itself. This leads to a paradox. How can a universe contain a computer powerful enough to simulate it? The laws of physics would likely still impose limits on computation. This raises the simulation within a simulation problem, deepening the computational challenge. Why does our reality appear so vast, complex, and detailed, seemingly running on a computer of near infinite capacity? It is a leap to assume a civilization could overcome fundamental physical limits on computation. A core principle of the scientific method articulated by Karl Popper is falsifiability. For a theory to be considered scientific, there must be some conceivable experiment that could prove it false. The simulation hypothesis faces criticism because it may be fundamentally unfalsifiable. Any lack of evidence can be explained away, making it impossible to disprove. This moves it into the domain of metaphysics or philosophical belief, where ideas do not require empirical refutation. Because it cannot be falsified, some critics argue that debating the simulation hypothesis is ultimately a fruitless endeavor. It becomes a fascinating thought experiment, but not a question that science is equipped to answer. Beyond the scientific and technical critiques, some folks view the simulation hypothesis through a cultural and psychological lens. From this perspective, the theory is less about physics and more about our human need for meaning, and our anxieties about the modern world. It can be seen as a kind of modern technological myth, a new story we tell ourselves to cope with a universe that often feels random, chaotic, and meaningless. The idea that our reality was designed by an intelligent creator, even a computer programmer, can be more comforting than the alternative, that we are the product of a blind, unguided evolutionary process on a lonely planet in a vast, indifferent cosmos. The hypothesis provides a neat, tidy explanation for some of life's biggest questions. Why is there suffering? It's part of the simulation's program. What is our purpose? We are here to be observed or to fulfill a function for our creators. This framework can offer a sense of order and purpose that is, honestly, deeply appealing. In this way, the simulation hypothesis functions much like a religion, providing a narrative that places humanity within a larger intentional context. It replaces a divine creator with a cosmic programmer, faith with logical probability, and scripture with source code. It's a mythology perfectly suited for our digital age. Furthermore, the theory might also serve as a form of ultimate escapism. If our world is not real, then our problems, our failures, and our pain are also not entirely real. This can be a psychologically appealing way to detach from the harshness of reality. It can diminish the weight of our responsibilities and the finality of our mistakes. The idea that this is all just a game can make the struggles of life seem, well, less daunting. Critics suggest that the popularity of the theory might signal a growing desire to disengage from a complex and often overwhelming world, retreating into a philosophical framework where nothing is as serious as it seems. Ultimately, this critique suggests that the simulation hypothesis might reveal more about us than it does about the universe. It reflects our hopes, our fears, and our deep-seated need to believe that there is something more to existence than what we see. It's a powerful and thought-provoking narrative, but it may be just that, a story, a compelling fiction we've crafted to make sense of our place in the cosmos, providing a sense of control and meaning in the face of profound uncertainty. Perhaps the biggest question is not whether the theory is true, but why so many of us want it to be. If our existence is a simulation, what is the purpose of this game? Why were we created? And what are we meant to learn from this meticulously crafted experience? Perhaps our lives are a cosmic curriculum designed by our creators. We might be here to learn fundamental lessons about empathy, cooperation, resilience, or love. Our struggles could be data points in a grand experiment about the nature of morality and choice. Consider the possibility that the simulation is a training ground designed to prepare consciousness for a higher state of existence. Every choice we make would not only shape our simulated life, but could also have consequences for our existence beyond the confines of this world. If this is a lesson, what are you personally supposed to be learning right now? In any game, there are rules that define the boundaries. What if we could break them? What if a character began to act in ways not intended? It's the desire to go off script and discover what lies beyond. Achieving this would be the ultimate act of rebellion. Would breaking the rules reveal the true nature of our reality? Perhaps defying a fundamental law would cause the simulation to crash or reveal its underlying code. Alternatively, the simulators might intervene. There's also the possibility that breaking the rules is, in fact, the intended goal of the simulation. Are the rules of our reality a prison to be escaped, or a puzzle to be solved? Waking up from the simulation is a dramatic idea. It represents liberation, the transition to base reality. But what would this experience be like? Would it be a gentle awakening or a violent shock? This forces us to confront whether we are prepared for the truth. The fantasy is often portrayed as positive, meeting our creators. However, waking up could be far more terrifying. It could be a desolate place, and the simulation a sanctuary. To wake up would be to emerge from a beautiful dream into a nightmare. This duality makes waking up the ultimate gamble. The simulation hypothesis forces us to ask if some truths are better left unknown. After journeying through the dizzying possibilities of simulated realities, creator gods, and cosmic computer code, we are left with one final haunting paradox. We must turn the question on its head. Forgetting the simulation for a moment, let us assume this is it. This is base reality. The universe is physical, our consciousness is biological, and our existence is the product of natural, unguided forces. If this is the real world, the one and only genuine article, then why does it so often feel like a dream? Why is reality so often punctuated by moments of profound strangeness, surreal beauty, and inexplicable coincidence? Think of the uncanny feeling of déjà vu, the experience of a moment feeling so familiar that you are certain you have lived it before. Consider the strange, dreamlike logic of our own minds at night, where impossible scenarios feel perfectly normal. Look at the bizarre and counterintuitive rules of the quantum world, which defy all classical sense. Even in our most sober and scientific understanding, the universe is a deeply weird place. It is a world where time can slow down, where particles can be in two places at once, and where consciousness itself, the simple fact of our awareness, remains the greatest unsolved mystery of all. This inherent strangeness of our existence is, perhaps, why the simulation hypothesis is so compelling. It provides a logical framework for the illogical. The surreal moments of life feel less jarring if we consider them potential glitches or features of a programmed world. The theory offers an explanation for why reality can sometimes feel thin, like a veil that could be pierced at any moment. The dreamlike quality of our lives, the feeling that we are characters in a story whose plot we do not fully control, resonates deeply with the idea that we might be living out a pre-written script or a simulation designed by an outside intelligence. And so, we are left suspended between two equally staggering possibilities. Either this world is a hyper-realistic simulation that perfectly mimics the strangeness of a dream, or we live in a base reality that is so fundamentally bizarre, beautiful, and mysterious, that it possesses all the qualities of a dream itself. In the end, the line between the two becomes almost impossibly blurred. Whether we are code or cosmos, we are left in a state of profound wonder, staring into the mirror of existence and asking the same timeless question: am I awake? And really, how can I be sure? We have journeyed to the very edge of reality, peering into the dizzying abyss of the simulation hypothesis. We've also faced the sharp criticisms, the lack of concrete proof. After all this, we are left standing where we began, with no final verdict in sight. The truth is, we do not know if we are living in a simulation. The hypothesis remains one of the most provocative and mind-bending questions of our time. It compels us to look at the fabric of our existence with fresh eyes. The sun still warms our skin, love still moves our hearts, and the stars still inspire wonder. The mystery does not diminish our world, it deepens it. So, where does this leave you? The simulation hypothesis is not just an abstract idea for physicists and philosophers to debate in ivory towers. It is a personal question that invites you to redefine your own relationship with reality. You are faced with a choice in how you perceive your life. You can choose to be a passive inhabitant of this world, simply living out your days within the boundaries of what you are told is real. Or you can choose to see yourself as an active player, a conscious explorer in a game of unimaginable scope, seeking to understand its rules, discover its purpose, and perhaps even learn how to change them. If you choose the path of the player, your life takes on a new dimension of meaning. Every challenge becomes a level to be cleared, every setback a lesson to be learned, and every human connection a vital part of the story. You begin to look for the patterns, the synchronicities, the moments of strange beauty that feel like clues left by the game's designer. You are no longer just a victim of circumstance, but a protagonist on a quest. The objective of the game may be unknown. It could be to accumulate wisdom, to spread compassion, to create beauty, or simply to experience this reality as fully as possible. The game is vast, and the choice of how to play is yours. This mindset can be incredibly empowering. It encourages curiosity, resilience, and a search for deeper meaning in the everyday. It prompts you to ask the big questions. If this is a simulation, what is its purpose, and what is my role within it? How can I live a more meaningful life, a more ethical life within the parameters I've been given? Adopting this perspective does not require you to fully believe the hypothesis is true. It only requires you to live as if your life has a profound, hidden purpose, a stance that can, honestly, transform your existence from a random series of events into a coherent and compelling narrative. So, what do you think? After hearing the arguments, weighing the clues, and confronting the implications, where do you stand? Are we living in a sophisticated computer simulation, characters in a story written in code? Or are we simply too afraid to face the vast, beautiful, and chaotic nature of the one and only base reality? The answer may be forever out of reach, but the question echoes in the silence. Let us know what you believe in the comments. Perhaps, you are the first one to truly wake up.